G'day everybody, how are you going today? It is so good to see you, or should I be saying good evening? Here we are in the dark. It is almost midnight here in Melbourne. We have had an absolutely epic time with this lens right here. And as you would have seen from the title, this is the 85mm 1.2. Perhaps the most exciting release for me ever from Nikon. After spending almost a month with this lens, I can tell you it will make a grown human being cry. And in this case, it'll make a grown man cry. Let's talk about this absolutely epic cinematic cat-eyed lens. It can see and do everything that you ever would want to do in the dark, in the day, anywhere, anytime. Action. Out here in the middle of the night because we have to pay homage to this lens. Now, we've set up this shot to make it look like it's almost fake, but we are actually really here. That's really a city. This is really a palette. There is really a party boat over there. I know the 50mm 1.2 is something spectacular, but somehow Nikon have poured even more secret sauce into this lens. Does it start with the two STM focus motors? It is super fast, jumping between foreground, middle ground, and background. Is it its immense capacity to suppress flaring and chromatic aberration? Or is it simply the fact that 85mm is a great focal length? Coupled with 1.2, it just basically gives you this epic cinematic outcome. We're shooting here right now on the 85 1.8 at 1.8, and as we can see, it looks fantastic. But 1.2, that's not just one notch better, that's two notches better. So where do you start with a lens like this? I've used this lens in kind of every situation, from sports, tennis, cricket, photographing my family, playing cricket in the park, down at the beach, capturing birds and people playing, shooting at night, shooting portraiture. This lens can handle it all. And it really just depends on who you are and what you do. When it's cropped to 1.5 on a 45, 46 megapixel camera, we're getting out to 127.5 mils. That's a fair bit of reach at 1.2. Or maybe you're at your 2.3 times crop when you're doing your 120 frames per second on the Z9 in 4K. And then we are just shy of 200mm, and you are still gathering 1.2 of light. My reality around this lens is, and I say this absolutely sincerely, this lens is almost for every type of photographer, even sports and wildlife photographers. For me as a photographic artist, as a professional photographer, and as a YouTuber, my ability to be able to create and express some of the crazy ideas that I dream up for shooting at night, for shooting long lenses at night, and for just creating moody cinematic outcomes, this is where this lens is priceless for me. Like the Z9, I kind of feel like there's nothing that I can't do. And that might sound strange because it is not a wide-angle lens, but it gives you a look. And that's what I'm chasing. I am chasing the look. Let's for a second talk about autofocus, the Z9 and this lens. It's an 85mm lens, it's 1.2. When you've got a mid shot, you might have something like 2 centimeters worth of depth of field. I have photographed my kids running down the beach towards me. The Z9, with its extraordinarily capable eye auto detect and the 2 STM motors in this lens, they keep up with each other and you get an extraordinarily high keeper rate. Now, is my expectation that you get 100% of shots? Absolutely no way. We are talking about 1.2. We are talking about moving big pieces of glass, and we're talking about people coming at you at speed. The reality on focus is whether it's 90%, 95, 99 or 100, and I think that will vary a little bit depending on what you're shooting, what the lighting conditions are, what backlight is like, and so on.
And I cannot stress enough that this lens is ridiculously sharp, even at 1.2, wide open. There is just so much resolving power in this lens.
And when you're shooting raw 20 frames per second, the keeper rate is so high that it is more than you would ever need to do your job as a hobbyist, enthusiast, or professional. This thing delivers. It delivers. A look across the shots I've presented here, and they're just all stunning. This is stunning. And this is people moving, and this is people moving at 1.2. Every single shot you see in this video is shot at 1.2. Every shot. It's astonishing. I think one of my biggest joys about this lens is the fact that it is just so cinematic. And whether you're shooting video or stills, you can still create a cinematic look. And it's all about that separation. I can have a person full body standing in frame and there is still epic separation between foreground, background and middle ground.
And we cannot go another step without talking about the absolutely delicious bokeh that comes with this lens. 85mm, well, they're famous for it. This is 1.2, so this is ridiculous for it. Now, we can see the shapes change a little bit, and from my usage, it depends on where you are, how far you are away, where lights are in the background, and so on. It is creamy and silky smooth, and the separation, well, at times, it just looks completely surreal. Which for me is one of those must-have aspects of this lens. I love it.
As I said at the beginning of this video, for me, this lens is something very, very special. It does things that no other lens that I have ever used does. Even the 50mm 1.2, which those who've watched my channel for a long time will know that that lens blows me away. Well, this is another whole level. And that's because we are going from 50mm with that lens out to 85. So that capacity to create that separation, that look, that cinematic vibe is even more accentuated, exaggerated, more obvious with this lens. Basically, I am in my absolute happy place. And with simple things like the speed of the focus motors, with the suppression of chromatic aberration, with the suppression of flare.
And when wide open, we have outstanding corner sharpness, along with what appears to be almost no vignetting. And I don't think any of the software that I have, like Capture One, knows about this lens yet.
And the fact that in-body image stabilisation makes this lens handheld almost seem like it's on a tripod.
And in this clip, we are using exactly the same clip as before, but choosing in Final Cut Pro the post-stabilisation called tripod. Coupled with 8K recording, this is outstanding.
Let's look at this glorious front element here. Absolutely delicious. This is an 82mm filter thread. There's a design feature I love about this lens. The front element glass is actually set back something like a centimetre, maybe even 15 mils, around half an inch. My theory around why Nikon has done this is actually to protect that massive, expensive front element. And I think this is super interesting. To me, again, it's about making this lens protected, more robust, more professional, just by doing simple things like not putting this front element right at the front here. I like this, it's a very deliberate choice. Now some might say, you're wasting a centimetre or so in your bag. Sure, you can say that. Me, I say this element is being protected from knocks and so on. You can see this lens being on a fashion photographer, a wedding photographer's hip all day long, and sometimes they go flying and they run into things, the back of a chair when you've got it on a strap over your shoulder. This is a really good idea for protecting that front element. So I love that. We've got this beautiful focus ring here, which has a great deal of resistance. That's fantastic. It's just the right amount. We've got our programmable function button here. We've got our switch to go between autofocus and manual focus. What is traditionally the aperture ring, which can be programmed to do all sorts of things like shutter and ISO and so on. And again, that's offering a fair bit of resistance, more than we might have found in some of the previous lenses. And it's got a lovely, nice quality of build. We've got some composites going on here and then metal going on here down the bottom. Weight. Well, again, I haven't been given official numbers on these lenses, but if we just do a simple how heavy is it test, they feel very similar. And it's possible that this one is just a tiny bit heavier. So we do know the 50mm 1.2 is 15 centimeters or 150 millimeters. We can see that's 1 centimeter shorter, easy. And we know that this is 1,090 grams. And I'm saying they're about the same, maybe this one's slightly heavier. So again, just over a kilogram for both of them. Awesome. We're getting 85mm, we're getting that extra reach, yet this lens is pretty much the same size and weight. Now we can see it is a little bit larger in the girth, but that's nothing to worry about. How does this lens feel on the front of the Z9? It feels fantastic, but I've also had it on the front of the Z7 and it works just fine. Here we can see it on a Z6. Let's squeeze off a shot, shall we? Oh, there we go. Looking absolutely gorgeous, works well. The 85 1.8, and they are in a different class. As we can see here, we are shooting on another copy of this lens, thank you Nikon, the 85 at 1.8. We are shooting at night with these two, they're actually tiny little battery operated lights running at 20%. That is all they're running at. This is not a lot of light. This is a dark city. This is still a great lens. This is still a spectacular lens. So let's not misunderstand that. You get a lot in this lens, just like I talked about the 50mm 1.8S when the Z system first started. This is a spectacular lens. This is 2 or 3 notches above this lens. Look, I'm a gamer from way back. This is Unreal mode. This is God mode. Don't worry about size, don't worry about weight. At the end of the day, all you need to worry about is, do you want to be in God mode? That's it, simple as that. Now, of course, let's not forget that this lens can go on everything from a Z30, ZFC, Z50, Z5, Z6, Z6 II, Z7, Z7 II, and the Z9. And let's remember, this is a pre-production version of this lens. This lens blows my mind. Honestly, this is for all photographers. If you have the budget for it, it's the sort of lens that you will use. In the 500 plus videos that I have put out since I started this channel, this is the best lens I have ever used, bar none. The 50mm 1.2 is the next best. And this, well, it is 2 years younger. So it feels to me that it is 2 years better along with that 85mm, along with that compression, along with that separation that comes with an 85mm 1.2. It will not let you down. It will deliver above and beyond your wildest dreams. I truly believe it. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. This lens means a great deal to me. It is going to be a lens that I shoot many, many things with. It was the 50mm 1.2 prior to this, but now these two are going to work side by side. Can you see yourself going for the 85 1.2? I will put a poll below, yes or no. And please do share with me, what do you think of how the 85mm has looked in this video? I have been blown away. I have been overjoyed. I thank you so much for being here. And if this is your first time here, I would like to see you again. So please do subscribe, please share, and please like. And I'll see you later. Check out the background. We really are not chroma keying.